Hello and welcome to another episode of the James Granström podcast Super Soul Model Series. Everything on this show is designed to help you feel greater inner peace, reduce stress, and help you tune in to your mind, body, and soul so that you feel great and live life on your terms. This week is a really quite emotional topic, and this week is how to manage death using your mind, body, and soul. Hi guys, thanks for tuning in. Welcome back to the podcast. A very, very important podcast for you this week because it's going to happen to us all, and it's going to happen to the people that you love and you care about. And I want to share with you some of my own experiences, and that is how to manage death using your mind, body, and soul. In the last week, my beloved father passed away, and I knew it was coming. But you never know when it actually comes. But when it comes, it's like how you deal with it emotionally, how you deal with it mentally, and how you deal with it from a soul perspective. So let me just give you a little backdrop. In the last 5 months or so, I came out to Spain and I was looking after my folks during lockdown. And in the last week or so, I found out that my dad went into hospital and he had a lung infection, and due to come out and see him again last Monday. And then when I arrived, my mother said he'd passed away in his sleep in the hospital that very day that I arrived. So it was not unexpected for me, but at the same time, you can't stop feeling those emotions. Those emotions are raw when it's your parent. They're right there. And it's just like how you deal with it. And then the next thing is like, what do I do now? And so this is really what this episode is really all about. How you handle the emotional ups and downs, how you handle these moments of life when they're gonna happen. And what I want to do is give you a sense of inner peace. I want to sort of share with you ways that can minimize your pain and give you like relief. I want to give you a sense of that all is well. That's sometimes easier said than done, but at least this is preparation. This is homework. This is preparation so that allow these ideas to settle in with you. Like I said, I've been meditating for like 17 years now, like almost to the day, and I've not missed a day. But I tell you what, in that amount of time, there's been such a wonderful, steady emotional state that's come out of that. Yes, there've been challenges along the way, and sometimes when a passing of a loved one comes along, that's even more in your face. But it's how you handle things. It's how you handle the challenges of life. It's how you handle the adversities of life that will really reveal who you truly are. And when you're calm and cool and collected, and you're able to make good decisions, because you have to make decisions when someone passes and someone transitions, because you've got to organize certain things, which I'm going to talk about in a minute. When you get to that state, you're going to realize once you're in that calmer, steady state, and you realize that this is just part of life, like death is part of life. It's not really death. It's just like, I call it jumping out your soul suit back into bliss, back into light, or back into love. But this is going to happen, and it's just really how you respond to these things which will really reveal who you are. But more importantly, it will reveal your emotional state. So if you can spend time, as I always share on these podcasts, like doing these little practical tools that I share with you week in, week out, you're going to realize your emotions and your centeredness and the clarity that you have will be much, much smoother for you in your movement as you move through life, and as life presents challenges and ups and downs with you, which it inevitably will. We live in a physical world. There's going to be physical challenges here and there. It's all about how you deal with them, which is what either makes you what I call a super soul model or just a regular person. And I tell you what, if you're tuning in, you are not a regular person. You have upgraded your software just by checking into this show. This show is meant to empower you. This show is being created for the purpose for you to reduce your stress, increase your inner peace, and increase your happiness, and remind you that all is well despite whatever life may show you on a moment-to-moment, day-to-day basis. So there's a few sections that I want to talk about today. Mind, body, soul, emotions, your physical movements, your intentions, and at the end I want to talk about gratitude. So one of the first things that's happened, how to manage death when it occurs. So maybe it's a beloved one, someone that you care about, someone that's close to you. How do you manage that? What are the ways in order to best manage that? So the most simple thing that I've realized that I've been doing with my family in the last week is exercising. No matter what, we've been getting up. Me and one of my sisters, we've been getting up and we have been exercising at 8 a.m. every day for 20 minutes to 30 minutes, just getting that done. That has given us energy and that has allowed our mind to feel good. Number 2, we have been having family meals. We have been eating extremely well, lots of good healthy salads, lots of fresh foods. When you take care of your body, that also is the vessel for you to receive good ideas, clarity, good healthy energy, feed your system, feed your body matrix system with good healthy nutrients. You're gonna feel great. And when you're challenged, sometimes you don't want to eat at all. And so that's why I get my healthy smoothies in and I make sure that I'm eating some good, healthy, natural foods, because my body and my mind need to be as clear as it can be when I'm having to organize some quite tough emotional decisions. Number 3, body exercise. Deep breathing. Breathe in for 4, out for 4. I've got a link towards one of my scientifically proven amazing breathing meditations. I suggest you listen to that regularly so you get to practice this steady breathing. Your body is an apparatus for holding spirit, for holding life, for holding well-being. When you breathe deeply, it's like you're breathing with your soul. When there is no breath left, there is no soul left in the body. So if you're breathing, that means your soul is alive and it is most definitely in your body. I like to call the body the soul suit, and you need to nourish this soul suit as best as you can, because we are spiritual beings having a human experience, not human beings having a spiritual experience. It's the other way around. We came from spirit, we inhabit these soul suits, aka the body, aka your vehicle, and it's your duty and your responsibility to take care of this beautiful vessel that you've been blessed with. And the better you feed it, the better you nourish it, the better you take care of yourself, mind, body, the better it's going to work for you. And it's the easier that it is for you to be receptive of amazing ideas when they come. But I'm going to talk about that in a bit. Body. Another way that I've been come out to Spain here, and it's blessed, even though it's late October, beginning of November, the sun has been shining. So a little bit of sunshine hasn't gone amiss. It's been a right upper, particularly during this time. So it's been a blessing in disguise to have the sunshine on us. Now, despite whatever happens to you, if a beloved one passes, if there is a little sunshine, at least getting 20 minutes on the front of your forehead here can make such a huge, profound difference to your brain receptors, which produces the feel-good chemicals. And if you're getting a minimum of 20 minutes in on your forehead here, it can really transform how you feel and can be a right mood enhancer. Also, you can see I'm wearing yellow. What does yellow do? I did this in my chakra color test earlier on one of my previous podcasts. Go back and check that out. If you're watching this on YouTube, well, I'll put the link in there. But the yellow is a happier vibe. You need to create that sense of joy. Why would some people want to dwell in the sadness, etc.? You can do that if you want. You have free will to do as you want. But I choose to want to tune into well-being. So I try to use uplifting colors, because when I have uplifting colors, your eyes pick up the colors, which interprets how it's going to respond, how your emotions respond. That's why when you dress for success, other people pick that up. When you dress for happiness, when you dress for well-being, as you can see, just the way I'm dressed, just for me, it makes me feel up. It doesn't make me feel down. And so if it's going to make you feel good, wear it, because your clothes, by the way that your eyes pick up color, will interpret and in turn change your mood. So all these little subtle things that you do, the subtle things that you wear, the subtle things that you draw into your life, that you put into your life on purpose, with intent. So my clothes, when I put on the day, my intent is to look good and feel uplifting. That is why I wear what I wear. And I want to look awesome, and I want to feel cool, and I want to feel great. So that is my choice Just be aware of all these things that you do, because I'm very aware of each little thing I do. It's not by accident all the things that I choose. My environment, the way I set it up, the way the clothes I choose, everything that I do is for the purpose of my greater good, my happiness, my health, my well-being, my abundance, just so that is what I'm living and that's what I'm sending out to the world. Next, for my body, huge. I do hot shower, cold shower, hot shower. So what that means is hot water, cold shower, shock my body with cold water and then warm it up again. Why? Because when you get cold water, it opens all the blood capillaries. If you check out Wim Hof goes on about cold showers. I've been doing cold showers since 2006. I practiced it particularly in the winter months, like no hot water, and I just went 4 months, January through to March, just cold, nothing else. And you know what? It's fierce. It's so fierce. But what I have come to realize is that I thought I'd meet myself halfway, because I'm a guinea pig on myself. I've got great willpower, but at the same time, I try to find the Buddha. I try to find the Buddha within, which is where I can find that middle path. And for me, this is what's worked, particularly during every day if you can, but particularly during times of high emotion. But do it every day. I recommend it. Hot shower, cold for at least 30 seconds, build it up your resilience to a minute, and then warm yourself back up again. What that does is it makes you present. That's what I've always noticed, is that when I immerse myself in the cold, it shocks me into the present moment, because where are all our problems? Our problems are either in the past or they're in the future. So once you shock your body with cold water, it drives you straight into the present moment. And do you know what's there? Nothing, just the present moment. And that's what Eckhart Tolle calls the power of now. And you know what? Cold water will make you present and help you enter the power of now. Now, another thing that I use for my body, particularly during this time, is I use chocolate. Why chocolate? Because chocolate releases a chemical which makes you feel love, makes you feel happy. I use dark chocolate, but it's particularly nice. I found myself eating quite a bit of dark chocolate in the last week since my dad's transitioned. And it's been nice, it's just been this lovely warm feeling. And what I've noticed in the last few days is that my emotions have been getting happier and happier and happier. Yes, there's been sadness because my beloved father's passed, but I'm going to tell you about some other things that has happened. But particularly, take care of the body. Give yourself the setup for success, for the emotional well-being, because next I'm going to talk about now how to manage death from a physical perspective. So from the physical perspective, we started decluttering. We've been decluttering the house. My sisters and I came out. My sisters came out the day after me. I just so happened to coincidentally come out the day my dad passed. What a blessing that was, because I was able to drive my mum to the hospital and sort out the funeral, because in Spain, you've got to have a funeral within 24 to 36 hours. I mean, it's no nonsense here. So that was pretty tough to find out that my dad had passed that day, and then to start organising a funeral the same day. So that was pretty intense. So I feel very blessed that I'm able to have a level of clarity and a level of emotional stability to be able to make some good decisions when life gets really freaking tough, because that was probably one of the toughest days I've had ever. And you know about it because you're feeling those emotions in the body, because you just find out something and it's fierce, and it's how you respond. And I'm going to talk about one of my mental little hacks that I used during that time, and I want to share that with you just so you have this info, because no one really tells you any of this stuff or how to respond to stuff when it's in your face happening. And at least if you have this kind of awareness before it happens, at least you have some sort of tools and techniques to be able to help your life, because the way you respond to life is the quality of your life. You don't want to feel like you're an absolute mess and you can't handle things. I want to tell you that there's another way of doing it, and this is what's worked for me, and maybe there might be something in here that you can take away that will work for you. So like I said, physically, one of the physical things we started doing was tidying up, decluttering, and tidying up and getting rid of things immediately. we started sorting the bills out straight away. We've had to like start organizing things like, you know, making sure the bills get paid, which accounts are they coming from, etc., etc. If you have a beloved one, make sure that they pass down all the details so you can sort all that stuff out and it's easy for you to access, because what they think is easy doesn't mean it's easy for you. And if it's you who are going to be picking up the pieces when your close one passes, you need to make sure that there's some level of understanding what to do. So ask to make sure you get all your all their bank details and all that kind of stuff sorted, so it's easy for you to access, so you can sort that out. Number 3, physically, speaking to friends and family, reaching out. The people that you care about and the people who care about you will contact you, and you speak to them in your own good time, in your own good way when you're ready. What is beautiful that I've noticed is that the amount of people that have reached out to share their love and their support has been overwhelming. The amount of love and kindness from your close friends and family is unprecedented. So just cherish the people in your life, because every moment counts. And just on another note there, if you do have an elderly grandparent, or maybe it's a parent, or maybe it's, someone somewhere that you really care about, I would always try and see them and end that conversation or end that meeting that you have with them by saying, I love you, or I appreciate you, or leave it on a high. Always leave on a high, because if you can just start thinking about every interaction you have that you leave it on a high, you're going to not feel any guilt, insecurity, unworthiness, resentment, upset, hurt if they were to pass on, if they were to die. It's so much more liberating to try and leave every relationship in a good place after every phone call, after every interaction. Is that always possible? No, but that's something that you have to be thinking about, how to bring into your life, how to start changing the way you do things, because you never ever know. So make every moment you can a precious one, because you just never know. And I was so thankful, because the last conversation I had with my dad, I told him I loved him. How good is that? What a blessing that is. I was a bit annoyed that he wanted something that he asked me to do, but I still told him I loved him. And that was awesome, and that was good enough. And you know what? It makes me feel that all the months that I was here was so worthwhile, because all I was doing in those months I was here during lockdown, I was giving my love, sharing good memories, creating good memories for me, for this passing that was eventually inevitable. It may have come a bit sooner than I expected, but it was all good, because I feel a sense of peace. And that's what I want you to feel, a sense of peace. Another thing for the physical, asking for help from solicitors, reaching out for people on forums, reaching out for people on Facebook forums. My sister did this, and we managed to attract the most amazing solicitors. It's been incredible, the amount of support and help that we've had, even though we're in a foreign country trying to sort out the Spanish side of things and the English side of things, because it makes the things a little bit more complicated in the estate when you are trying to sort out the wills in Spain and sort out the wills in England. Now, you might be in the States and your family is just in the States, or you might be in Australia, or you might be in New Zealand, or you might be in South Africa. Wherever you're listening, just make sure you've got some clarity and having a good team, because a good team is going to make your life a lot easier and reduce your stress. Yes, it might mean you need to pay a bit of money to be able to pay for their services, but in the long run, once your assets are liquidized physically, once your assets are being able to sold off and the cash is being able to move to the right people who are due to receive it, in this case it's my mum, because she's still living. So getting yourself organized financially is huge. That is one of my main physical things, is sort out spreadsheets, sort out balance sheets, sort out what the outgoings are, go through the files, get it clean. And if not, if it's a parent that you're talking about, in my case it's a parent, just speak to them in advance. It's going to be a tough conversation, but you need to prepare for this, because it's going to happen. And if you prepare for this early, it's going to be a lot smoother ride when it comes around. Because if it's not prepared and it's not sorted and you're not organized, you're going to get left with not only an emotional dump from the actual day itself when you find out they pass away, but then sorting out the estate and the finances and what goes to what. etc., etc. Just try to make your path made smooth and easy, because I know for sure now that after this experience, me creating a will, me creating clear things to my passwords, access to my money for my beloved ones and the people that I want to leave my income and money to and my assets to, I want to give them absolute clarity how to get that out there once my physical form has passed on, whether to my family, to my wife and kids, to be, when that comes along. I'm going to be ready and I'm going to be smooth, and I'm going to share them regularly where things are and when things change, just so that it just becomes a habit, because we learn by creating repetition. Now, emotion, how to manage death emotionally. Talking to one another, huge. Talking to one another openly and honestly about how we feel is important. And another emotional, how to manage the emotions of a death, is just basically spending time with one another. Physical touch is a big deal. And just staying together and working harmoniously as a team has been tremendous. Me and my sisters have been like organising the finances, and we've been going through all the paperwork and finding out the income and outgoings and getting the food and just, you know, working to take care of my mum, because my mum she's finds these particular things like organising the finances not that easy, and all that practical stuff. She's not that way inclined, but she's amazing at other things. So it's just letting everybody feel as though they're contributing is such a huge deal, because at some point you might feel as though you're taking everything on your shoulders. Spread the responsibility and know that everybody's contributing in their own unique way. Another point, eating together. Eating together is really important at this time, because there's this sense that when we eat together, we're loving one another, and there's this beautiful sense that it's looking after the body. And remember, there's a gut mind going on here, and if the mind is not at ease, the gut won't be at ease. But when it's eating together as a family unit or as loved ones coming together, see it as a celebration. Having food in your body is a wonderful thing, because it makes you feel good and it satisfies you and nourishes your mind, body and soul, but particularly in this case, your body. But sitting down together nourishes you emotionally. And as a caveat, have a little light music in the background, because it makes you feel good and it soothes the nerves as you eat. Another thing, writing the eulogy for the big day, you know, how to prepare for death when that comes along. Writing a eulogy is going to be emotional, but once it's done, it's done. But write about the things that make you feel as though your beloved one's life is a celebration to you. That's what's important. See life not as an ending, but as a celebration. That is what's important. Life is a celebration. It will transform. Your life will transform from one thing to another. Very much like you'll take off this soul suit and you'll go back to bliss. You'll go back to the bubble of love. But just see it as a celebration. Don't see it as a failure. It's not a failure. Every life is a success. It's just each of us has a different perception what we consider to be a success. If there was love, that was a success. That was what you came for. Love, growth and joy. And one of my other emotional tidbits just to always think about is to remember to praise and appreciate one another during a very sensitive time, because everyone wants to feel as though they're contributing to the whole thing, the whole system. When a beloved one passes, you want to feel as though you're contributing to helping. And when you are contributing by praising one another for what they've done great today, whether it's organising the solicitor or organising the funeral, or organising how you manage to do a spreadsheet for sorting out the bank details. I mean, all of these things are huge. Or getting the groceries, or someone who made the food, or someone who cleaned the house, or someone who decluttered. All of this is so important. Getting your mind clear by decluttering, getting your emotions steady by being together and creating harmony. That is what's most important. And then trying to find a sense of lightheartedness by doing things that make you feel good, like the exercise is huge. Now, spiritually, from the soul perspective, how to manage death from a soul perspective. We talked about it before. The soul is forever. It doesn't stop existing. The physical form only lasts for a certain amount of time. So You will take off this suit and you will go back to the bliss, you'll go back to the light, and then you might come, as the Buddhists will say, reincarnate and come again. But what's really important, and what's important is that to begin to quiet the mind through the meditation. Every week on here, I'm always talking about meditation because it helps you tune back into the energy of whence you came. It helps you tune back into that feel-good energy. It helps you tune back into your natural state. I was talking to one of my clients today, and I said, the reason why I love to meditate is not to get it done, and it's not to try and get results. It's because of the way it makes me feel. It makes me feel good. It helps me return back to that natural state. And as a bonus, as a cherry on top, it gives me access to goodies. And this is what I'm going to talk about now. I asked for help from my dad. I just wanted to know that he was okay, and that I wasn't just reading books and thinking, is the soul finished? You know, is that it? That very day he passed away, I had the most incredible thing happen to me. What happened to me was I'd paid for the funeral, I'd organised the funeral, and I was driving in the car through the mountains on the way home, and I set up my phone to put on my gentle music in the car just so that I follow this nice breathing pattern, because I was feeling emotionally unsteady, obviously, from just finding out that news that day. But I was feeling such relief that I'd found the right amazing funeral company for my dad here in Spain, and that was such a blessing. It was such a big deal, because in Spain they were trying to get you to sign immediately at the hospital so that you take out their funeral costs, etc. They were showing me coffins and flowers and where to go, like immediately, just as I found out my dad had died. I was like, no way, this is way too fast. And what I've realized is never to do anything under duress. Never take any action or decision under panic, because it's gonna be a backfire. So just remember that, whether this is death or anything else, under duress, under panic, back off, have a little moment to yourself, ease off. So that's what I did. I went out the room. I wasn't pointing any fingers, wasn't pointing any blame at anybody. The guy at me talking Spanish, really, intensely trying to sell me a death package, a funeral package. I was like, this is what I don't want to deal with now. But I went and spoke to both my sisters, told them of my intentions, which was to find out perhaps another funeral company that could help us rather than the hospital, because what they were offering at the hospital was really, really expensive. And my dad had asked for a specific type of funeral. And anyway, do you know what happened? I can't believe how this happened, but this is what I want to let you know. You are always being helped in the unseen. I'm going to repeat that again. You are always being helped in the unseen. Just because you can't see it doesn't mean it ain't there. This is what happened. One of our neighbours called me and said, I've just found something on the fridge. I wonder if you'd like to know. It's a funeral company that we've just seen recently, so I don't know if you need it. But I was like, are you kidding me? I'm at the hospital. I need something like this. So I phoned them. They phoned me back within 30 seconds. I spoke to an English lady, not a Spanish lady. Are you kidding me? That was the number one, having the language. And she told me exactly what to do. She said, don't sign anything. Just let the hospitals be. Say that you could perhaps come back tomorrow and sign it if you've still got a bit of time. By the way, this was at 6 o'clock at night. And I went and she said, we'll come and collect your father's body. And if you just come and sign the papers here at the office, we'll be here for you. And then we'll organise everything for you, the funeral, the collection of the body, everything like that. And then we'll return the ashes. And I negotiated a price with them. Guess what? It was half the price of what they were offering at the hospital. And these people had compassion, kindness and love. And that's when I knew for sure that I was being really looked after. And I want you to get to the point when you feel you're really being looked after by a non-physical force that you cannot see, that is always helping you, always guiding you, always got your back. And just because you can't see it doesn't mean that there isn't this greater, higher force, higher power looking after you. Because in my experience, that's exactly what's happening. And if you're listening to this podcast, at least you're opening to the idea that this is happening. That evening, after I signed, I was listening to that music and I heard two songs randomly pop up in between my music, in between my meditation, chill out music in the car. And they were Tom Petty's Free Falling, which my dad didn't like, by the way, not that he cared about it, but I listened to the lyrics and the lyrics said, I'm free falling, I'm gonna leave this world for a while. I spin out of nothing. And I listened to those words and I got goosebumps. And then straight after that song came Come Fly With Me by Frank Sinatra. And you know who loved Frank Sinatra? My dad, my papa loved Frank Sinatra. And it was Come Fly With Me. And then I was like, right, you're in a good place. I am so happy you're good. Thank you for coming to me through music. That was my sign. That was my sign to know that you were all right. The next 2 days later, my sister's friend phoned her up and sent her a message saying, check this out. When I asked for a sign of my dad's transitioning, of his passing, I saw a rainbow. But today, I saw a double rainbow. So that was my dad and your dad in a better place. And she goes, and then I saw it again the day after. So she sent the second double rainbow. And of course, you know how rare double rainbows are. So that was just a sign to let us know that all is well. So I want you to ask for a sign that only you can interpret and that you know is good for you. For my sister's friend, it was a double rainbow. And for me, it was through the music. Also, when it came to sorting out accounts, I didn't know how to access certain things. We needed the passports and for my parents to be able to transfer death certificates and stuff like that. And we lost the safe keys. The safe had broken because the battery went inside the safe. Can you believe this? I mean, are you serious? Anyway, I suddenly got this download when I was going to the loo. I was going to the loo and I suddenly got this download. I was like, I think I know where the keys are. And you know what? I found the keys for the safe. I mean, I've never ever been where these keys are. I feel like that I was being guided to where these keys are for the safe. I mean, this stuff is just something I can't make up anymore. I mean, I can't make this up. This is just what happened to me. You take the words and you use them in any which way you possibly can. And I hope they bring you a level of inner peace, because I want them to, because this is my own experience. This is exactly what happened. These keys turning up, the access to learn how to do certain things like the accounts, and to learn how to find out where the documentation is, where I had no idea because I was never told by my dad. But I managed to figure it out, and I felt like I was just given an idea and it just suddenly appeared out of nowhere. And this is where people talk about where they write songs, where they, you know, come up with an idea for a new TV show or a new movie. This stuff is for real. And that's because I believe infinite intelligence, the divine, the universe is trying to give you stuff. But the question is, are you receptive enough to be able to pick up on the messages that it's given with you? And every time you meditate, and every time you tune into this podcast, and every time you do anything that makes you feel better, you're going to be much closer to receiving that information when it comes. And you want to make sure that you're dialed into this radio feel good. You want to make sure you're dialed in to this higher perspective, because a lot of the world isn't dialed into it, and which is why there's so much suffering. And I'm trying to help end suffering by creating these podcasts and giving people more peace of mind, sharing with you personal experiences that go, hang on, there's something else great in here, but you have to access it. You have to be on that higher frame. You have to be on the higher plane of life and look through this higher perspective. Now, it's not always easy because there's emotions involved, challenges involved, but that's your job. You're fine-tuning your own instrument to make sure that your life is in a different, higher space. And when you operate from this, life will be working out for you in ways you can't even fathom. It's just like, you know, you've got your tippity tapping and asking for answers, and they just come to you straight away, even during challenging times. Like the funeral people that came to us were just like out of this world, compassionate and beautiful. Getting those safe keys were amazing. Getting access to the accounts was amazing. Getting access to the passports were amazing. You know, it just goes on and on and on. Getting that, it just goes on and on. Anyway, you've got to find out what works for you, because that's huge. Now for the mind, how to manage death through the mind. This is one of my favorite things that has been so powerful for me. Every day after my meditation, I write down, and I've done a whole podcast on this, why writing is so important. I make my intentions and write them out to the universe. And I'm going to read you what I wrote, what I've written down in the last week. Universe, orchestrate a smooth transition of the estate that's quick, smooth, and for a price we can easily afford. Universe, orchestrate the perfect people to help us and the family and the estate and the assets. Universe, orchestrate a wonderful win-win for us all that is such a blessing. Universe, orchestrate unlimited amounts of blessings and big happy changes throughout the whole of this experience. Universe, orchestrate this whole experience so that it's easier than I can possibly imagine. Just asking the universe for help, but writing it down creates this focus, and this focus is priceless, because when you're clear, that's what the universe will mirror back to you. Now, finally, gratitude. Gratitude is so important. When you are grateful at the end of each day for all the blessings and all the things, the little things that have happened and the little successes that you've had, that just helps you fine-tune back into this higher frequency. You've got more access to those ideas. You've got more access to that non-physical help. You've got more access to that soul help. You've got more access to your beloved that's passed away. You know, me today having those, sometimes I look out in nature and I'm going, are you kidding me? I look at the beautiful clouds. My sister posted something on Facebook yesterday. We woke up in the morning and there were clouds covering the valley. And we looked at it and we're like, wow, something majorly beautiful is going to happen today. And nature does that to you. It's a reflection of where you're at. So notice that the more peace and harmony and love that you feel, nature's going to reflect that back to you. Nature's always reflecting back to you. And spend time in nature. Watch it, observe it, because she is a part of you and she's always looking after you. And if you spend time with her, you'll be able to listen to her secrets. Just remember that the soul is always transitioning. Once it leaves the body, the soul is going back to bliss, as I like to put it. On my Insta stories, go check out my Instagram. Every day I'm always putting some sort of nature with a tune, because I love my music. I love my electronic music. But on it, I put a little quote. And the last couple of weeks has been back to bliss, because that's for my dad. Back to bliss for whence we came. Because when you come to this physical form in this earth experience, it's a little heavier, but we have these physical forms, we have these things called bodies, aka the soul suits, but really we're a bunch of souls playing the game of life with these physical bodies. So look after your bodies, cherish your bodies, and then you will be a light-filled body. And that's really what we're aiming for, to be full of light, full of love, and full of joy, and full of ease and calm and clarity and power, so that you can light up the world in your own unique, magical way. And if you want to access your beloved, you have to be in this higher state, because they're not in the physical form anymore. So you can't look at them and look back in their physical form. You have to look at them from this elevated perspective, which means they have access to everything. So look at them through nature, look at them through the dancing ripples on the water, look at them through the trees as they wave, look at them through the rainbows, look at them through the birds, look at them through the bees, look at them through the most magical experiences in nature. Nature will show you that it is fully alive and pulsating, and that is where spirit resides. It resides all around us. And so your beloved will pass on in this particular way and have let go of that suit, that physical form, and has moved in to everything that's around you. But nature's the best way to see them, but not limited to just that. That's why I was able to hear my dad through that music, which gave me the goosebumps. And the goosebumps is always the sign to say, hey, you're right on track here. I hope you've enjoyed the show today. I hope it's brought you a level of peace. I hope there's been some ideas in here for you to just divulge, understand, and take on board, so that it can give you a greater sense of peace, happiness, and clarity. Death is inevitable, but it's not the end. It's merely the beginning for the soul to go back to where it came from, back to bliss, back to love, back to the light. And remember, that's where you came from, and that's what you are. You're full of light, full of love, and you're trying to make your life as best as you possibly can and live it on your own terms and in your own way. And the happier you are and the more peaceful you are, the greater your life will become. Because when you're steady emotionally, you're able to listen and tune in to the magic that's all around in life. Most people haven't dialed into that, which is why there's a lot of suffering. And I just want to help end that suffering, particularly for you listening, so that you can enjoy a greater quality of life, because you deserve the best. We all deserve the best, but are you willing to accept it? I hope you are. Anyway, thanks for tuning in today. I hope you've loved the show. Please give it a like. Please give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe. And please share it with anyone who you think will benefit, because this is meant for the greater good. I love helping people. I love looking after people, and I love to help end suffering and show you that there's another way to live. Keep meditating, keep tuning into those high feel-good vibes, and as always, I wish you green lights all the way.